What's up, everybody? Catalytic here. This is the season 2 cast assessment for God of Games. I don't know why I said it like that, but whatever. Um, Here with me, we have my fellow co-host in the year of 2025. Please introduce yourself, Neth. And that brings us to our second co-host. So he is a God of Games himself, a winner, too pussy to ever go in elimination. Ethan.
Yeah, that is correct. You heard it correct. I am a winner. Nolan and Neff have not won their own game, so I feel like I'm at a advantage over them. So
It's a different point of view that'll help this podcast. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be going through each player. It's about like 2 days into the game at this point. It's for April 13th, 2022. But what we ended up doing is each of us ranked the cast 1 through 21 on our own criteria. I did it based off who I think is gonna do well socially, strategically, and physically. Ethan, you did it like physically, right?
yeah,
Roblox
yeah,
skills. Okay.
Roblox. Yeah,
We're gonna go through each player, and since it's 2 days in, I guess we can talk about what we think they're gonna do now, what we thought beforehand. So coming in last, 21st place at the lowest average is actually our first boot from last season, jjstranges, Blaziken, Joji, any of his other 9 different names that exist. I ended up ranking him 21st out of 21st. I just think in my mind, like I don't really know. He's had some skill in his elimination, but ended up losing. He didn't actually submit a list when it came to picking captains. He's on the blue team, which is my team. We each have our own team, by the way. I think mine's probably the weakest, but that's besides the point. He has potential if he like tries to talk to people. I think while he did rate him last, I don't think he's gonna get first boot because there's bigger threats. But I don't think he's gonna make the final or really make it a couple like to round like 6. Ethan, you played with him. What are your thoughts?
not really. um,
Oh
I'm
wow.
not, I mean, I kind of did, but at the same time, like he was first boot, like you said, he went out like immediately. I don't think he's the weakest person in the cast by any means. I did not rank him last. But I feel like my suspicions of him were confirmed when he didn't send in a list of ranking the cast, and yeah, I mean, I'll just leave it at that. I mean, wish you the best, but yeah,
Yeah.
prove me wrong.
They actually beat Benjaminopolis in chess. They got slayed by an epic Reshiram in it was like some beat game or something, I don't know. Yeah, I actually ranked Charlie 18th, so I guess I was above average. Oh no, never mind, I was below average. I think he does know some people from like the old shithole website that I'm not gonna name drop on here. But I
Wait,
at the same time he definitely has like some enemies. He's also on my team, so that's not a good start considering the bottom 2 people are on my team. But did have a little beef with Ryan when he left, so that will be an interesting storyline to play out. I mean, he's not bad at Roblox. I've only really seen him play last year a lot, but he did get an elimination win. He was MVP before he went home, so he did have somewhat of a story. But I don't know how much he cares and actually wants to win this game. So that's gonna be the biggest hurdle. Ethan?
yeah, no, somebody else that was on season one, and somebody that I didn't really interact with too much just because our games just didn't align strategically. I don't remember where I ranked him, but at the same time, I think that he's somebody where if he cares about the game, I think he does have upside to him, like he can do well. But it's just about him caring about the game, and right now, I don't think he cares as much as other people. Like, has he been in an alliance yet? I don't think I've seen him in one, so it's like that's not a really great sign. But I don't know. He beat somebody in an elimination, so he has that under his belt. But I think his biggest hurdle is going to be his social game and interacting with people and kind of getting himself into a position in an alliance. Okay,
I,
do you
yeah,
want me
you
to
can go.
start?
You can go. You have the most
Um,
to say.
no. Honestly, I think Jelly gets a lot of shit. And I feel bad for him because I don't think all of it is deserved. Do I think he's the strongest person physically in the game? No, and I don't think and honestly, that probably is by a long shot, just because there are a lot of people here that are very good at Roblox. But at the same time, like he does have connections to people in the cast. It's just gonna be if his biggest hurdle is if people are going to be loyal to him or not, because Jelly's one of those players where he comes across as expendable. And if he kind of asserts himself into more conversations and into more alliances, I think that he can do really well. But people look at him as somebody that they can just boot whenever, and if he can change that narrative of himself, I think he can actually play a decent social game and get kind of far. Can he win the game? I think if there's a right combination of people on his team, yes. But it's about getting there and making sure he gets there. And if he can do that, I could see him winning.
All right. I mean, this is the third member of the bottom that of my team. So I have, and Caleb is too. Spoiler alert. So I have the bottom four all on my team. Maybe not a good look. I think the thing about Jelly is I think he's very coachable at times, and we do have a lot more team comps or like live comps and stuff. He was actually a captain. He did get to pick teams, but I'm really confused on what he did because he basically started handing out the best players to the other two teams in the game.
Wait,
So
really? I wasn't there for picking.
yeah,
What the fuck?
yeah. So basically, just looking at it right now, Jelly decided to give out Triplet, Crit, Mybash, Zach, Maddasha, Blake. So like I'm just really confused on what he's doing. I don't know. I mean, I know he has beef with Josh over a casting issue over his current game that's coming up. I just have to say, like, finally, like to wrap it up, like I think he's the captain of the Blue Buccaneers, and I'm worried that the captain may go down with the ship. He's not the worst position in his team, but he's definitely not the best.
Caleb.
Caleb is a rookie coming in. He obviously, well, he has connections with both Tylor and Zach. I don't see them flipping on each other, and him and Tylor both on the same team. There was a bunch of night one talks, and he did get himself in an alliance with quite a few people that are integrated in the Gata games, so I think that'll help him. However, he is on my team, which I could see losing a lot of comps, and while I do think he'll be able to like be in a good spot on his team, if they just keep losing and losing and losing, eventually like we saw last season with Patrick, like he'll have to go in. I wouldn't say like physically he's like the best, but I feel like sometimes when we give legs out and they have time to practice, I feel like he's someone that's going to put in the work to practice. I think the reason he's this low is probably just because we don't know really of what his skills are like, but it is a team season, and I do think he's going to be able to socially integrate pretty well.
Yeah, no, I know Caleb from way back in the day. Actually, we used to be on a Survivor tribe together, on 10 gauged,
Okay,
but
we don't say that site here.
but yeah, I mean, like he's definitely somebody that is gonna have a really good social game. I'm just hoping that he doesn't get clocked for his relationship with Tylor and Zach, because I think if people put two and two together, they can kind of figure that out pretty quickly. Um, and I'm excited to see him play. I don't remember where I ranked him, but I hope I didn't rank him too low, because honestly, I feel like he has a lot of upside to him. Like I could see him very much like he's a very good social player, and I think that if he can utilize that aspect of his game, like it'll carry him really far. And given the format of this, you kind of have to talk with other people and other teams, and I think that he's going to put himself out there to do that. And I can see him going the distance, and I think the only way he gets targeted is if he's just caught in the crosshairs and trying to target a specific group of people. Unfortunately,
Right. I will
yeah.
say, because I didn't say this earlier, since I've been saying my rankings, I actually had Jelly at 19 and I had Caleb at 16, just because I didn't know how much work he was going to put in. But I definitely think he could. Definitely think a 12-round game, as long as his team doesn't get decimated, he could make the final.
Cade. Yeah, he played Surf Shacks last season before it got canceled, and he was very vocal, very out there. But you know what? I've been reading his confessionals, and I think he's actually trying a lot in this game, and he's positioning himself decently well. And I'm honestly pretty impressed by the way he's played so far, just because um he's very aware of the people that he knows. He's very aware that they're threats, and I think that he's choosing to hide behind them moving forward, especially because a lot of them are veterans to GOTA games. And I think if he plays his cards right, he can really kind of just be in the background and kind of be ignored while the people that he's working with get targeted.
I put Cade at 20, and that's just a reflection of like what I know about them. They did win Jelly's season. Mind you, I think like our competition is a bit higher in this game. Granted, they did almost beat me, but let's not talk about that. I do think they might have some connections. Like obviously Jelly, like they're both on the same team, so I think they're gonna be like a duo. And I will. They are also the fifth person on my team. That means yes, the bottom five are all on my team. But I do think they have potential. It just depends on. It's another case of how much is the blue team gonna get decimated because two teams lose the challenge. Like I don't. I see blue team if anything being like the blue team almost like in the real show Cutthroat, like
Yeah.
losing a bunch of people. But I think they could go far. They definitely have connections. It just depends on where they're situated on their team.
Well, I will talk about the first member of Green Gorillas, the best team here. Mr. Singh, I always see him playing long terms. Like, whenever I am in a group or something, he's always one of the names I always fucking see playing. So, like, he plays a lot of these games and he knows a lot of people. And I feel like he's been around the block enough to where he knows how to play a social game and knows how to play a decent strategic game. It's just going to be a matter of if he gets invested in this game. And he did not send a list ranking the cast in the beginning, and that was a little concerning.
Already on my shit list.
But I mean, like, and he did say that he wanted to like fuck somebody over or whatever. But at the same time, I think he might have just been lazy, so he just said that. I'm not sure. But didn't didn't you vote for him to win a Survivor game recently,
I
King?
did. I was the only person that voted for Sing to win.
There you
Um,
go. No, but like I think physically I'm not super knowledgeable on like his physical game, but he seems very mid tier to me. And if he can just, you know, be social, I think he'll be all right. I honestly think that somebody like Blake, for example, like I don't know if they've talked at all, but they could really work well together in my opinion. Like just
I did recently vote for Sing to win. I actually ranked Sing 14 on my list, so it's almost pretty mid of the road. They didn't send in a list, so that's kind of slap in the face. But I do almost see him as like a fourth to like this Evan, Nikki, and Aidan trio that started to form in the game. Ethan, you weren't there last night, but it was Nathan. You weren't really there last night either. It was a fucking shit show. There are a lot of big personalities. There's way more drama. There's been more drama in one night than there has been the whole season. I will say Sing, like, he has like the vibe that like he could go with those people, but I don't think he's like necessarily dying on that ship. But if he doesn't make the social connections, then I think I could see him dying on that ship. I don't think like he has the best position on his team. So I do think he has to socialize a little bit, or at least he'll be like one of the noms. But I mean, I think he's capable. It's just a matter of how much he tries. I've known Tylor for like a long ass time, like up there with you guys. Um, he's another one of the group. He's another in the trio of Zach and Caleb as well. We have a couple of trios forming this game, kind of interesting. I do think he has like great energy to him, where like you know he's gonna be a personality, and you know he's not gonna like let people just like shit talk him. And I appreciate that because he almost has this like alpha personality that you get to see come out, and it makes for entertaining. But he can also play like he's not like in charge. He did actually just get a 0 in the flood escape round, which is kind of concerning.
what?
but
Oh my god.
but I do love Tylor, and I think with Caleb on his team and the protection and the other alliances that he's already formed, I think him and Caleb, if they can grab the blue team by the balls, they'll be at least safe for the first couple of rounds. And if they can physically keep it up, then I think they could somehow give that blue Buccaneers an upset for me and my team.
Tyler's an interesting one because I do think he's decent at games. He's one of those people where I feel like he relies a lot on connections he already has, and I'm just hoping he does branch out. And it seems like based on an alliance that got made out of like a call last night that he has made some bonds, but I want to see him do well, and I want to because like I know who he is, and I don't know. I like him, whatever, whatever. But at the same time, if he got a 0, that's concerning. I don't know. I just hope he doesn't get clocked for it. We'll see. I mean, if he can make the social connections that he's already starting to make, I think he'll be well off. But I don't want him to rely too much on Zach and Caleb, because while I think that's his main alliance, if he relies on it too much, it's I don't know, it's gonna be seen as like he's boxing himself into other opportunities.
There's only one way to transition. What's the closest thing to Tyler is Zach. Um, Wash Ravioli, the first champion on this list, coming in at rank 14. Ethan, what are your thoughts? You won with Zach.
I feel like I ranked him mid, and the reason why I did, like, yes, he is a god of games, and I am so happy he is. Like, I think he deserved it. For the way he played. He played a very good social game. So I think he's definitely underrated. I wonder how he's going to navigate this when he has actual people that he's friends with in this cast, because last season he knew who I was and knew who like probably fucking Ben was and people like that. But for the most part, I think he didn't have any close friends coming into this, and the fact that he does now is it'll be interesting to see how he goes about it. Overall, though, I think if he can keep up that social game that I know he has in him, that he proved last season that it just proved to be successful. I think that he'll be just fine. Like I'm not I'm not as worried about him as his other friends in this game.
I put Zach at number 12. I think I mean, like you said, he's like out of games. The most concerning thing about him is actually just his like physical Roblox skills. He's aware, he's self aware, and we love a self aware king. And I think Zach, while he may not be the most physically gifted, I think that honestly the outsiders are just the two people that didn't make the final, being Maddasha and Evan. And the only reason I could see like Zach being in trouble is he could be perceived as the weakest and get voted in, but I think he'll. I wouldn't be shocked if he didn't make it until at least like final 14 with like no issues. Well, they didn't submit a list, so they're on my list. I honestly got the vibe that like they were gonna be with like I thought it was gonna be like Evan, Aidan, like all these rookies that I kind of casted from that side of the community. But I get the vibe that maybe like I don't know, I kind of stereotyped them into like a group, but I don't think that he's really close with like Nikki or like Evan or Aiden that much. I do believe though with the team that he's on, he's not really in the best spot for when the Red Rockets do eventually start losing comms. I think if like a green team wins, then I think the people getting nominated are like Maddasha and Evan round one. I think he would be safe for at least one round over Evan if that was the vote. He's gonna have to do a lot of convincing to kind of get in the core of his group or just bust out some physical prowess. Ethan,
This is Maddasha, right?
yeah, you played their tar, right? You won.
Yeah, I thank you for saying that, Nolan. I wasn't gonna say it, but you know,
Okay.
I'll take it. I actually went with Chris, so that'll be interesting to see how Chris interacts with Maddasha. So that'll be cool. But besides that, I think that Maddasha physically isn't bad, but isn't good. Not I wouldn't say isn't good. I feel like they're very average. So I would say I don't know. They're very mid for me. Like I think they could surprise us and do really well, or they could just completely flop. And if not sending in a list is any indication of how they're gonna do, I'm a little worried. But we'll have to wait and see.
Well, this ranking did definitely not reflect the ranking of the cast members ranking each other because Evan got last in terms of who do you want to be. I think Evan definitely is very vocal. I played with them a survivor recently. They're the person that like will get in your face and like almost cross the line, like be literally centimeters away from it, and then like walk away or like stop. I think. See, I don't know what to expect from Evan. I honestly will be shocked if it's not Evan versus Aiden or Aiden versus Nikki or Evan versus like what it's gonna be two of out of those three people in elimination. That's what I'm trying to say for this first round. I think they definitely made it known like that they're against certain people. Like they have beef with Josh apparently. While they're definitely a character that I'm enjoying to watch, I think they need to like Netflix and chill for a minute because they're out there right now.
Agreed. They are the talk of the town when it comes to people don't like. So um, that's concerning going forward into the game. But honestly, I think Evan just doesn't care what people think about him, and he will just I don't know says whatever he says, and I feel like he throws a bunch of stuff at the wall just to see what sticks, and I think he likes to get a rise out of people. So that while that's very entertaining to watch, it's what that does for his game moving forward. I don't know. I'm worried that, like you said, it's going to be two of those three in the first elimination, and if he can pull it out physically, then I think it would be a really funny storyline to see him constantly be targeted and kind of be the cockroach that doesn't die that people don't care for.
He definitely did not win.
He
Got
did
slayed
not.
by Patrick, and it's still 1v1 duels. Definitely a character to say the least. Mikey, I put him at 15. I think he's coming in this game a lot more level-headed, shockingly, as I've seen. He does have an alliance off the bat, which I think is going to help him, and he was able to score Josh on his team, which I definitely think physically is going to help him. He has Josh, Chris, Triplet. I think that's going to be like a 4 right there. I think it's going to come down to the red and the green team, honestly, and whoever can cut their fat and make sure their team is the strongest at the end of the day will probably come out on top. And I think Mikey picked a decent team, but I definitely think he might have gave red team like too many good people.
Member of the Green Gorillas, let's go. He I did play with him. Mikey was somebody whose hand was in everybody's cookie jar. And I've what I'm a little worried about him in this season is that if he has too many connections, people can compare notes and they're like, "Oh, is Mikey with you? Because Mikey's with me." Because that's not necessarily what happened last season. But the thing is that people know that that's what he did last season, and they if he plays that same game, I think it could very much come back to bite him. Last season, he did end up getting screwed over, and he ended up exposing one of the alliances he was in to another alliance. He told my alliance about the other one, and so that gave us so much ammunition to start making like huge moves against them. And he, in a way, his elimination kind of changed the course of the game a little bit. So that was kind of cool. But if he isn't careful and if he gets clocked for being cool with everybody, I think people will see that and wanna take him out. But at the same time, I do think he's in a very solid alliance right now. And I could see him honestly making it all the way to the end if he plays his cards right. He just has to not get too cute with his position.
Triplet threat J. I've known him for quite a while, back to the some challenge group short terms. I had him at 11. I think right off the bat he has great connections to people like Sharpy, Josh, Mikey, Chris, probably those types of people just based off past relationships and past games. However, like he does have a busy lifestyle. So like seeing how much effort he puts in, is gonna be a curious take to see. I think he's gonna be great with the people he's with, but like his relationships with the people that he might not be with will be what could like screw him over in the end. But like I said, very physically capable. If he does, I could see him being one of the people that make the final. If not, I could see him being one of the last few boots before it. But I definitely think he's someone that physically is going to be able to hold his own. And I think, if anything, that'll be his best asset combined with the connections he already has.
Yeah, I mean, I think Nolan said it best. I think he's coming to this game with a bunch of connections. Like a lot of people love him, and I think that's really good. My biggest worry is that, like Nolan said, he is so busy in his personal life, and I have a feeling that that might hinder his chances here, just because he isn't going to be online as much, so people aren't going to feel like they have to be super loyal to him. I feel like his main alliance will be loyal to him, but other like surface level connections that he makes, I think they're gonna see him as a little expendable, and if they need to turn on somebody down the road, he might be one of the first few people to be turned on, just because he's not going to be around as much, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think his activity level is what's going to be his undoing if he does indeed go home. Yeah, go Blake, go Green Gorillas. I'm really excited to see how he plays from a hosting perspective because I did play with him last season, and he was the only person that I came into the game not knowing that I left, and I felt like I was like friends with him. I feel like we just kind of bonded in a weird way, and like I don't know, I like him. I like the guy. He's really chill. So I am very excited to see him play and give him all the shit in the world because he's on my team. But that aside, um, I think honestly, if he plays his cards right, which I think he will, he's very smart strategically. I think I really think that he can win. Honestly, and if he if he can get through this thing with Josh, and if they can make amends and work together, I think it could be to both of their benefits because they are both pretty strong, and together I think they can cover a bunch of the people, socially. So if they can stick together and work together, I actually think there's a lot of damage they can do in the game. Look, if I have a grudge with somebody and I'm on a team with them, if I think it's worth it for my game to put that aside and make amends and to work together, I'm gonna do that. But I don't know if Josh has that capability in him to do so. So that's the only reason why I would be worried for him a little bit. But they're on the same team, so it's not like they can vote each other, right? So I don't
Yeah,
know.
they only
Like,
vote each other like after the once there's two final noms on the team.
right, right. So I mean, as long as they're not beefing the entire time, I can see them both making the final. I mean, I know we haven't touched on Josh yet, but um Blake is just he's just somebody that like you just gravitate towards his personality. Like he's very funny, very very I don't know, inviting in a weird way. That's a weird word to say, but like I don't know. I know I gravitated towards him to work with, and I'm sure other people will too. He's really funny, so I see him doing actually very well.
Well, I do like Blake. I did have him at 13th. I do think he's a very capable person. He's very likable. He's good at social skills. He's been a bit inactive. He hasn't been inactive, but I haven't seen him talk. Like he hasn't given as much content as me and Neth maybe used to. The one
What?
concerning
He's
thing
literally talked a lot in his
he
confessional.
had,
What do you mean?
I'm not anti Blake, but there's a Green Gorillas chat with 4 out of the 7 people in it, and he's not one of them. While I do think he'll stay safe for at least the first two, probably like the first round, if like, because if the Green Gorillas lose, I think the noms are gonna be like Singh and Brit, Nikki Fanny, obviously. But I do think if like they lose a player, like he could easily be a nom next week if everyone else on his team is connected everywhere elsewhere. It just really comes down to him like wiggling his way into the connections because you got to remember he was safe for like 8 or 9 rounds straight in season 1. But overall, just a fan favorite and great person to watch.
Yeah. No, I think Brody is somebody who he's kind of like I'm gonna sit here and eat my food and mind my business and get far in this game. Like I
Get
think
my
he's
check.
right, exactly. Get your check, exactly. That's what he did last season, and honestly, he's actually more than capable physically. Like he's probably actually one of like the top physical people in the cast. He's actually very good, and I think that honestly, I think that his biggest issue is going to be his social game because last season that's where he kind of got clocked for it a little bit because um he's one of those people where I feel like he won't go out of his way to talk to you. Like he's gonna wait for you to approach him,
Mm-hmm.
and that might not go over so well in a game like this where you need to be on top of it socially in order to not be a nominee. So
Right.
yeah,
I put Vanilla at number 4. I think Brody is hella capable in competitions. And can we just I don't know if we mentioned this already. The red team literally has all 5 people in this season that made the final last season. I don't know how Patrick was able to pull it off. I don't know if Mikey and Jelly are like on crack, but they
dude,
stacked they put all the people that actually took my Robux or took my cash and put them on one team. And while
ridiculous.
I do think Brody is a very good like physical player. I think the one thing that could get them nominated is how much they're willing to talk to the other people on the other teams. Um, but if they are nominated, I could see them like staying over like certain people. But the Red Rockets are just overall such a strong team that I don't see Brody being like targeted for a while, if anything. And I could see him easily getting another PayPal
Another
from
W.
me. Oh, Neth, you only were there for the tip of the iceberg. I was there all night. I was trying to run people before we had to switch the game to Flood Escape, and like I thought I was being like gaslit. Like Brit, like honestly, I need Brit to like calm down. They're like one of the biggest targets. Not to say they're not physically capable. Oh, amazing, amazing like character. Like probably a great person in real life. Um, but does not give a fuck about pissing anyone off or saying what they have to say. Definitely gonna be a character. I don't know how long they'll be around here for. I think if they don't win today, they could be going in. They had a pretty good score so far for their daily, but they got beat by Josh. But I could see the Green Gorillas winning this daily so far, so I could see them be.
Brit's gonna. I think Brit's gonna have a hard road, just the way they've started this game. I think the little trio of I think the little trio of
Aidan, Evan, and Brit.
Aidan, Evan, and Brit, right? I think they are just public enemy number one right now, and Brit's a part of that. And I don't know, people just don't like him. And in a game where like you need to have social capital, like it's not doing it. Like it's just not doing it for me. I don't know. That's all I have to say. I think they're very capable physically. Let me just make that very clear. However, I could see them going into a lot of eliminations this
Hey, and
season.
Epic did it. I fucking love Tanner. Like he had so many fucking good episode quotes last season. Like he does, like he could breathe, and you would just laugh at what he has to say. Like I think he is probably like he has been around for quite a while, and he's been in like all aspects of the community. So like I would say like a good, like if you don't know who Tanner is, what are you doing with your life? Everyone loves Tanner. Like he hopped on for like 3 minutes like last night to say like he was on in the middle of a bike ride or something, and he was like having the time of his life or something, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, hi Tanner!" Like he's gonna have no issues in this game if he tries. I could see him like he did say something about just playing like a villain or something like that in his confession. I don't remember what it was, or just like playing hard. I don't know what it was exactly, but I feel like Tanner could stab you in the back, and then you'd be like, okay, and then get over it.
Let me just say, I fucking love Tanner just because he's one of the sweetest people I've met, like in the Roblox community. It's so funny because he'd always be there being like, just want to let you know that like you made a really big impact on my life this year, and I just want to thank you for that. Like he'll send me like those types of messages, and he'll always wish me happy birthday. Like it's just he's just a nice person, and I think that he's probably one of my go-to allies in games if I see him. I don't really ever see myself turning on him or vice versa. And like he saved my ass last season. Like I almost got voted in, and he decided to vote for Blake over me, and I thank him for that because I'm a winner, baby, and so is he. So love him for that. I think he's very good socially. I think that's going to be a strong suit, if anything. Physically, he is very capable. I will say that. Is he the strongest person in the cast? No, and I don't think you have to be the strongest person in the cast physically to win God of Games. If he can let that social game, flourish, like I know he can, he's going to do very well. Once again, I could see him being a two-time winner, 100%.
This is my highest ranked player at number 5. And it's sad because I feel like while they're the highest ranked player, they have the biggest target on their back. With some of the blue Buccaneers already doing their runs, like he's not going to win the life shield, and the blue Buccaneers are more than likely going into elimination. They have like 4 people have done it so far, and I think the Red Rockets have more points than them in like 2 scores compared to Blue Buccaneers 4 scores. Well, I do like Aidan. I do think sometimes I don't know how much he wants to play this game with like him and Nikki. Like I know Evan's taking this seriously for the most part, but I don't know if they like really care about this long term as much as other people do. With one of the 3 probably leaving this week, I don't know, if Aidan's going to come out of that. I know he's very physically capable. I've seen him snap in a bunch of long terms. He beat my ass in a tanagram not too long ago.
It's not that hard, by
That's
the
not
way.
saying. Oh, fuck you. I don't know if he's gonna want to like try to play the game if like he's the one that survives out of his like allies, or if he's gonna actually want to just go rogue. But if he actually wants to play the game, like I could see some people on his team like actually wanting to keep him in because of how useful he is for the Buccaneers. Because I honestly think like physically he is probably one, if not the strongest asset on their team.
I think Aiden's going to be a victim by association with the people that are, causing the most waves in the cast right now. Aiden's very physically capable. I think that's very evident, but I think it comes down to how much they're going to care about this game. And I think you hit the nail on the head with that, Nolan. If he cares about the game and he's like into it, I think that he definitely can do well. It's just I don't know. He's already in such a precarious position, and I don't know. There's a very good shot we see him in the first elimination, unfortunately. But if he can bounce back from that, and maybe you know what, maybe if his allies go home, like if Evan and Brit go home early, and he still cares about the game after that, I think he can do okay if he can make amends with people and prove his worth to his team.
I mean, I love Chris. I don't know why the fuck he's in London right now. Apparently, he didn't submit
He's
a
seeing
list.
he's seeing Little Mix in concert with his
Uh,
friends.
well, I hope he completes the daily in the next 3 days.
Me too.
Otherwise, a fat zero will not only derail the green team's chances of winning the daily, but I mean, it could piss up. But like, he's already him having like these relationships already has him in like a few alliances, and so he's just like a funny person. He's one of those people that like he's kind of like almost like Trip, where like I do think he has all these connections, but it's a matter of if he uses them. And I ranked him number one on my list in hoping that he would use these relationships because I think he's really funny if he wants to be. He does know the people he's played CNR, so he does have that group. He's an old scorer, so he knows some of the older people, and then obviously like the Surshak side of things. He's like connected all around. It's just a matter of does Chris want to play this game to win, or does he want to just not give a fuck? Ethan, this is your tar partner.
Yeah, I mean, Chris is probably my best friend on this website. I mean, or at least one of them. Sorry, y'all. I met him in person, so I feel connected to him in that way for sure. But no, he and I'm gonna be a little critical of his game just because I know 100% how he plays. But Chris is the type of player where he's going to write it out with an alliance like the one that he already has, and I do think they will be loyal to him. And I don't see them turning on him. Like Chris isn't the type of player to make a move in the game against people. He's the type of person to react to what happens, if that makes sense. Like if let's say he gets turned on,
Defensively,
well, yeah, like if he gets turned on, he's not I don't think he would be the person to turn on somebody. I think people will turn on him and he's going to react to that and he's going to move forward with that knowledge. Which is fine. And I feel like a lot of people play that way. He is in London right now seeing Little Mix. That's a little concerning just because he's not going to be here, but also if Tylor got a zero as well, I think it might be
motorbike.
okay. It might be okay. I don't know. Like he has an alliance to back him up at the end of the day, and I think that Josh is going to want to accomplish what he wants to accomplish on his team, and I don't think that includes having Chris get sent into the elimination. If it's not Mikey, or Josh against Chris as a nominee, I really do think that he would be okay. Like I think Mikey and Josh would save him. I don't know. I think he has upside to him if he can get back home and get in that alliance and actually care about the game and be social. I think it's fine. I think it's okay. I was in an alliance with him. And let me just make this clear. I do think he is the best player physically here. So I'll just say that first and foremost. But where I think Josh lacks just a little bit is that people don't really like him. Like, I mean, but alliance aside, I think people just see him as one of those people that are so good at everything, and so they immediately are like, okay, well, I want Josh out of this game. Like, he's an immediate, easy first target because he's just so good at everything. Um, that being said, though, he does have solid allies in this game that I do think would keep him safe. But if it's between him and like other people, though, in that alliance, I don't know where he ranks in the pecking order of that. I did appreciate all of his insight in his confessional, and he very much was saying how he wanted to play a different game this type of time around, and I do think he definitely can. I'm just a little I'm just concerned that all of the people that don't like him, if if they just get a lot of support, I think it can really work to his disadvantage. But he also can hold his own physically, so he might just make it there by brute force. Who knows?
I've known Josh for, oh God, it might just be 10 years now. All jokes aside, Josh is probably one of, if not the most polarizing people in this whole community, and like he can choose. Like it's weird. He has a switch. I've seen him play tremendously before, back in the day. Sometimes now even, where he understands the game strategically. Like he's really smart about that. But it's comes down to how he knows what has to happen. It's just him being able to execute it without pissing people off. He's somewhat of a game bot. Like sometimes he might not punctuate what he wants to say, and it might be coming off as demanding. Like, you better do this or this is going to happen. Last season, it got him into the first elimination last season though. But this season, I will say, I feel like last season it was our first season. But this season, I think it's being looked at as like an actual series of like longevity, and you can tell that he thinks that because he's putting in a lot more work. He has more alliances. There is a group of people he was in with the new alliance playing like Scribble.io. Like he's at the point where like if he gets nominated, even I don't know if his like team votes him in because he's just that valuable. So I could see him getting a walk to the final. Like I think the Red Rockets are stronger overall, but the Green Gorillas do have Josh. So it depends if he can Superman in the final, and that could get him his first win. But I think he's a lock for the final, especially with the removal of some crapshoot eliminations this season. All right, so Sharpy is another person that got second place in the rankings, tied with Josh. And honestly, I'm pretty excited to see Sharpy play this time around. I think him and Ethan's games are very close together. I think last season, or at least that's what I believe. I feel like I may have not given him some of the credit that he deserves, and I think that's a big motivator for him to play this season. And I know he's capable. He's very social. I haven't really seen him do bad in a game. I tried slaying the fuck out of him in Search Exit Challenge, but that's okay. I think he's put in more confessionals in like the first 2 days of this game than he did whole first time around. He's another person where like some of these veterans you can see they're taking this game more seriously this time around than the first time. He is very well protected. He's like if Sharpie goes in elimination this season, I would be shocked. He's very insulated on his team, and he's has so many like allies in the other teams as well. For him to win, he just has to be aware of are the right people on his team come the final, because I don't think he's the person that would hold his team down.
Yeah, I mean, that's my ride or die. That's my bestie from last season. We won the game together, and honestly, it was kind of getting dicey there at the end because we were like, should one of us swap teams because we feel like we're gonna lose the final against Patrick? Like we were debating everything, and I feel like we would play each round and kind of we would stay up late, like literally strategizing on what to do. And I don't know, he's somebody that like you can have really easy strategic conversations with, and he's actually just I don't know, he's really fun to talk to, and I think that that's going to be a big plus for him in this game. People always call him fake in games, and I do see it somewhat, like because he's just very social across the board. However, at the same time, like you'll know if like Sharpie really trusts you, and I think
Oh yeah.
the alliance that he's in, like he will show you how much he trusts you because he'll be talking to you a majority of the time, and I think that's key in knowing that about him. But I don't know. I think he's actually very underrated physically. I think he's very capable. He did better than me in the final. He socially is just like a social crackhead. Like he will be one of the people that is talking to almost everybody and ensuring that he's in the best position possible. And strategically, I think that he can navigate the game any way he wants to. It's funny because when he talked to me after the cast reveal and everything like that in messages and like in personal messages, he was saying how like, oh, like I'm playing this game to have fun this time. Like I have nothing to lose. I already won last season, yada yada yada. However, he's already I feel like taking this game seriously, and I appreciate him doing that because I want to see how he plays a game from a hosting perspective, and I think that he's gonna do very well.
Patrick. Despite him recently ignoring me and not wanting to play Dead by Daylight with me, Patrick is a legend of most things. He sometimes can give off like I don't want to say like know-it-all vibes, but like he's kind of like Josh, where he's good at a lot of things. Whereas like Josh is good at a lot of things like Roblox, Patrick's just good at a lot of things like in general. I think, he picked a great team, and honestly, like it's to the point where like I don't think he'll have to socialize that much. I mean, he's not in that many chats, but like he has Sharpy. I mean, from like the original alliance of like Ethan, Josh, Sharpy, and Patrick. Like he has Sharpy in him and still in the chat, and like they're both on the same team. And even if like some of the other people, like the other winners, are more insulated than Patrick, I don't think I think Sharpy's gonna realize the value of Patrick. And if even if he doesn't put in that much social work, I think like I would be shocked if we didn't get at least another final run out of him, if not another win.
I would say Patrick's a very good player. I think he lacks a little bit socially, and I think part of it is that he's very confident in his abilities physically and even strategically somewhat. So I feel like he tends to rely on past connections a lot. He is just so smart and he's just so well versed physically. Like I was terrified to run the final against him last season because I was just convinced we were just doomed and Arcade Island 2 was our best friend, I guess, but you could say he was robbed last season. I honestly think that there is definitely another timeline where he wins last season and is a two-time winner here. We see that he gets pulled into a big alliance by Sharpy pretty early on this season because I think Sharpy feels close to him just because of how last season turned out. And I think that because of that, he's kind of set up in a better position than I initially thought he would be coming into this. And I don't know what was going on during team picking, but he finessed this team, and he's chilling. Like I see him easily coasting to a final.
I mean, I will add real quick. This game could have been totally different. Patrick accepted his spot to be on the season within like 10 minutes of like the deadline. So like, if he doesn't do that, he's never captain, and the whole game could have been different. But now I think he's sitting pretty. I could see him being a winner, two-time finalist, perfect elimination record. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. Once again, I'd just like to say thank you to everyone for tuning into this podcast. You're probably listening to this after the season, obviously, because we're not really listening it till then. But hopefully, this is going to be a great season. Hopefully, I'm not biting my words right now, eating my words, whatever the fucking phrase is. But yeah, I hope there'll be many more seasons to come. This is a banger cast. This is just our first 2 days' opinions, so don't take them too seriously. Hopefully, we're completely wrong in some of our takes, or maybe we're completely right. We'll never know. Thank you to everyone. And yeah, gotta games, gang gang.
Good luck to everybody playing, and I hope that, again, like Nolan said, you prove us wrong if we kind of give you a harsh opinion. And I really hope that to the returning players that you learned from your potential mistakes last season, or maybe you want to play the exact same way because it worked out for you. Who knows? But good luck, and y'all are gonna be listening to this after the season, so hopefully we got some people correct with our opinions. Red Rockets.